Hey guys, my name's Lachelle. I'm a domestic violence advocate here at the Avalon Center. The topic I have to talk to you about today is a topic that I feel is not only important for anybody who's been through trauma or any major life-altering events, but also for all of us that are experiencing the pandemic of COVID-19. And that topic is worry. So today we're going to kind of focus on learning about worry, what it is, where it comes from, how it affects us, and maybe some ways to kind of make it more manageable. So first of all, what is worry? As human beings, we have this amazing ability to think ahead. And thinking ahead can be a huge benefit for us when it comes to problem solving or planning for things in the future. It can actually help us even anticipate problems before they even arise and come up with a way to handle them once they do happen. So you can see how that might help us be able to achieve goals or other things of that nature. On the flip side of that, being able to think ahead can also lead to worry, and having a lot of worry can cause us to have some anxiety and stress related symptoms as well. So what does worry feel like? For a lot of us, it may be easy to think that worry is something that we just have in our heads, but the truth of the matter is that worry can actually have physical symptoms as well. Muscle tension, restlessness, difficulty concentrating, difficulty sleeping, feeling easily fatigued. Those are all things that excessive worry can lead to as well. What triggers worry? So if you guys are like me, you've probably had people tell you, you worry about having things to worry about. And so being able to understand what triggers that worry and what brings that on is really important if you do worry excessively and want to work on that. And the truth is that the answer to that question is super broad. Really anything can trigger worry. Most of all, I think unpredictable things, new things that we don't know about or that we have some unknowns about can definitely trigger worry. For example, COVID-19. I think that we all feel like this is something that is new and unpredictable, and we don't have a roadmap on how to deal with a pandemic because we've never experienced these kind of things before. And so even when things are going good, humans often tend to worry about when they're going to go bad again. Especially if you've had a lot of trauma and bad things happen to you in the past, it's really easy to kind of worry about, well, it's really great right now, but what's going to happen to make this end? Or what's going to happen to make this go bad again? Kind of waiting on that other shoe to drop kind of thing. And so let's talk about the different types of worry. There's two real categories for worry. The first one is real problem worry, and the second one is hypothetical worry. So in this little section, we're going to talk about how not all worry is the same. So we did kind of talk about how some worry is good for us and it helps us to accomplish things, and then some worries can be just added stress that we really don't need to add in our lives. So real problem worries. Real problem worries are when we are worrying about something that is an actual problem, something that's happening in front of us right now and needs solutions right now. So for example, there is a pandemic. That is a real problem worry that we all have right now. We need to take all precautionary measures that we can to avoid it, such as washing our hands, wearing masks when we go into public, social distancing, that kind of thing. Those are real problem things that we have happening to us right now. On the flip side of that, hypothetical worries are it's worrying about problems that don't actually exist right now in this time. Now, that doesn't mean that they couldn't possibly happen going forward. That just means that they don't exist right now. An example of that would be, what am I going to do if I get sick and I can't work and provide for my family? I'm not sick right now, and I'm doing the whole what if thing. What if I get sick and I can't do the things that I need to do? And so we're going to talk about when problem becomes a worry, or when worry becomes a problem for us, and when we might need to seek some help or use some self-help resources to manage that worry. So we all worry to some extent or another. Thinking ahead, like we said before, can be super helpful, and there's no right or wrong amount of worrying that we should do. I think when we realize that worry is stopping us from living the life that we want to live, that's when we may want to consider that it's become a problem for us. Excessive worry doesn't help us. It just leaves us feeling upset and exhausted. So going back to the two scenarios that we were talking about before, the real problem worry and the hypothetical worry. If I am concerned about that real problem worry, and I'm focusing on doing all the precautionary things that I can, then focusing on that real problem worry might actually help me prevent getting sick. Whereas if I'm only focused on that hypothetical worry of what if I get sick and I can't take care of my kids and I can't work, then I may be spending all my time and all my resources spinning my wheels trying to worry about something that's not even happened yet, versus being concerned about this is what we're facing and these are the things I can do right now. And so, again, when that becomes excessive and we can't live the type of life that we want to live, that's when we want to look at that and be like, okay, maybe this is a problem for me. So what are some things that we can do if we notice that worry is excessive for us and it's a problem for us? One of the first things is to maintain balance in your life. And if you guys are like me, maybe the balance that you had in your life before with this pandemic is totally different. I'm working from home now, which is something I've never done before, and so my balance is different than what it used to be. And so I encourage anybody to find that balance that you need, even though our situations and circumstances have changed. With that, you can kind of balance those activities of pleasure and achievement, and then balance that routine of work and fun. It's real easy when you're working from home or when you're kind of stuck at home to get out of having fun. And so whether that's having a game night with your kids, or having cooking a fun recipe with your kids, doing something to lighten that mood and to have some fun on top of all the routine work type things. And also being social is huge about maintaining our balance. Social is really hard right now since we're all social distancing, but one thing that I have been doing is having a video chat with some of my friends a few times a week, and you would be amazed at how much that helps just to have that interaction with other people. It kind of feels like we have a little bit of our normal back during those times. The next thing is to practice identifying real problem worry versus hypothetical worry. So evaluate your problem and ask yourself, is this something that's happening really right now that I need to solve right this minute? Or is this something that just could happen that I'm stressing about that hasn't even happened yet? If that's the case and it's hypothetical and it's not happened yet, remind yourself that, I'm spinning my wheels and trying to solve this thing that I can't even solve yet because it hasn't happened yet, and try to shift your focus to something that you can work on right now. The next thing is practice postponing your worry. And what that looks like is kind of setting aside a designated time each day that you're going to allow yourself to worry. So let's say my worry time is going to be 4:30 to 5 every day in the afternoon. During the day, when I catch myself worrying about things, is when I have to do these things to make this part work. So during the day, when I catch myself worrying about things, I have to be able to say, okay, I'm going to tie that up and put it over here in this box, and I'm going to open that box at 4:30 today and worry about that at 4:30, because right now I have A, B, and C that I need to get done that I can't get done if I keep worrying about this. And so you're really just kind of telling yourself, yes, this is something I have to worry about, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to worry about that later. And you have to really let go of that worry until your designated time, or else setting that time doesn't really help you. The next thing is speaking to yourself with compassion. And when I say speaking to yourself, that doesn't mean talking out loud to yourself. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but let's face it, we're talking about those thoughts that we have in our head. Validate yourself. Remind yourself that it's normal to have worry, and it's normal to worry about things. It's just part of who we are, and we worry. And so validating yourself and telling yourself that it's normal sometimes can help you feel like you're not alone in the situation. And also ask yourself, what do you need? What do I need right now in this situation to help myself feel better? Do I need to talk to a friend? Do I need to call my therapist? Do I need to talk to my advocate? Whatever that might look like. One of the last things is mindfulness. And there's a lot of different ways to practice mindfulness. And so I'll go over just a few of those with you and kind of tip you off on some ways to look up some of those exercises online. The first one is breathing exercises. And so breathing exercises can really help us to kind of calm down in that moment when we're feeling excessively worried. And they can be really simple breathing exercises, or you can Google some really lengthy and more in-depth breathing exercises. But one of my favorites is just to breathe in for 5 seconds while you're counting in your head, and then to exhale for that same 5 seconds while you're counting in your head. And do that repetitively to kind of get your breathing pattern stabilized and to kind of shift your focus from whatever you're worrying about to your breathing. The next thing would be grounding techniques. You can Google grounding techniques. There's all different kinds, but if you guys want to look at the 5 senses grounding technique, it's one of my favorites, and I've seen it used a lot and with a lot of success. And then also meditation. Meditation can be really good for people, and if you're not really sure about meditation or how to do that, there's a lot of apps you can download on your phone. I think one of them may be called Calm. That's a good one that people used. And what those do is they allow you to have guided meditation and kind of help you build up to being able to do meditation. I hope these things were helpful to you, and I hope that you're doing the best that you can to deal with all the things that are happening around us. And remember that if you guys need anything from your advocate during this time, we're still here. We're still open. We're still providing services. Call our crisis line at any time at 1-800-641-3434. Bye, guys.